Entegra Technologies, Inc., but I also represent the largest investor group in Entegra, and I see one of our other co-investors, the EFO family office here, Pete Wilson, who also serves on the board with me. So what I would like to do today is talk to you as investor to investor and tell you why we're bullish on this investment called Entegra Technologies. We've developed a product called Entegra Blue. And Entegra Blue is focused on securing critical infrastructure and industrial control systems. Many of you, I'm sure, are aware of, if not impacted by, the hack on Experian and various retailers who've been hacked. So a lot of you are very concerned about hacks into data, hacks into medical records. But if you thought about the impact in this country on hacks in industrial control systems, this was a wake-up call to America a few years ago when, at the time, the director of the National Intelligence said, attacks upon our nation's critical infrastructure, posed an existential threat far exceeding any potential terrorist activity. So that was kind of a wake-up call that in the industry, we haven't really focused on securing industrial control systems. Well, I think about what are industrial control systems. It's not just our power plants and utilities. It's water treatment plants, it's pipelines, it's oil and gas, it's food manufacturing, it's those medical devices and those connected cars. So the quote that I can't put in writing that was a wake-up call for me was when one of my acquaintances, who was an executive in one of those global OEM manufacturers who managed hundreds of water treatment plants, told me that millions of people would die before we realized we had been hacked at a water treatment plant. That was a real wake-up call. So now every time I turn on the faucet, I think about that statement. But that's why we're here. Entegra Blue has a solution. And you may ask, well, how big of an issue is this? We haven't heard of any kind of industrial hacks that make the headlines. There have been thousands of industrial hacks on industrial control systems. And most of them do not reach the level of media. This is jumping ahead, so I'm sorry about that. I set it down, there we go. So our federal government actually has an agency focused on industrial control systems. And every 2 months they publish reports talking about what systems are out there that have been hacked or are vulnerable to hacking. And just this last report, I pulled one up on Snyder. I don't mean to pick on Snyder, but Snyder Electric has a vulnerability in their SCADA system. We were just talking a few minutes ago to someone in this audience who says, oh yeah, my IT people tell me SCADA is secure, but I'm worried about it. And he should be worried about it because actually there's publications on many systems that are vulnerable. Well, what are the recommendations from our Department of Homeland Security if you have these SCADA systems, or in particular Snyder SCADA systems? So I actually brought the printout, but it's pretty easy to remember what the government recommends. One, unplug it from the internet. Now, we heard earlier that big data was one of the future areas, that we all want big data, and we want to collect them from our industrial control systems because that tells us when to maintain the equipment, and we get reports from it, and we understand how to manage our processes by being able to connect to that equipment. So unplugging it is not very practical. The second idea was to separate it from your business unit and then possibly use VPNs, but oh, by the way, VPNs are not secure either. So we have a real problem that we can point out the issues, but there's no real solution on the marketplace until you see what we're doing with Entegra Blue. So now I get to advance to the next slide. Entegra Blue, just think of this. Think of us as the stealth bomber for the industrial control system market. So what our technology does is it keeps jumping ahead. Sorry. You're not supposed to see that part yet. So what our technology does is it creates puts a barrier over what's underneath it. So it makes it operate in what we call stealth mode. So for the hackers, they cannot hack something they cannot see. Or if it doesn't have a pulse, they can't find it. So we basically cover what's underneath in that industrial control system. So we have a secure communication link. You can communicate with your industrial control systems, whether or not it's in an offshore oil rig in the Gulf, or whether or not it's in a nuclear plant, or whether or not it's in a water treatment plant. So we're focused on those secure communications so that someone cannot come into your communication path and change the behavior of how your control systems behave. So back to the water treatment plant scenario, the fear was someone that could go in and hack the system and change the dial as to how much chlorine goes in the water. And that would be a serious problem. Now, I'm probably not going to be able to click on this audio link. Yep, can't do it. So, if I were to be able to touch that little button, there's a 10-second audio clip there. And the gentleman sitting right here, Dave Shamwell, our CTO, interviewed someone by the name of Bob Bigman. And what he asked Bob was, I'm going to read actually what he asked Bob. So, have you ever known a connection secured by this technology to be broken? The answer was no. I want to read it. No, I don't. And now, don't take my word for it that this stuff works, because I'm not a technologist, I'm not a cybersecurity expert, and I'm an investor, so I would have a vested interest in telling you it works. But when Bob Bigman tells you it works, you might want to sit up and take notice. Who is Bob Bigman? Well, he had a 30-year career with the CIA, 15 years of which he was the CISO for the CIA. He used this technology while he was at the CIA. And as a matter of fact, he was the first user of this technology in classified missions, critical missions. I can't say where, obviously he can't either. But he is the person who answered the question, no, I don't. So, I knew I might have an issue with the technology, so here's the slide that actually has the question and who Bob is. Now, assuming that our technology works, this technology does not, but it keeps jumping ahead. I promise you I'm not touching it. How large is this market? Because it's a relatively new market in trying to secure industrial control systems. People are spending a lot of money trying to solve this problem. About $12 billion went into securing industrial control systems. But they're using technology that was built for the IT world, and it's not working very well. So, as you heard, I think from the prior cybersecurity investment, this is a very large problem, and it's going to continue to grow. And we want to help to solve this problem. And the way that we're going to do that is selling through industry partnerships. We do not want to have direct customers because we're a small company. This must be time. Must be on a timer or something. We're a small company. We realized that the best way to sell a very sophisticated cybersecurity solution was go to the industrial control OEMs, the global OEMs, whose name were on the list from the Department of Homeland Security saying your systems are not secure. And they know who they are. It's actually just about everyone who makes industrial control systems. So we have already approached those several global industrial control OEMs, and we have significant traction and are about to launch a large initiative with one in particular that I cannot announce today, but we're in the final contracting process, and they are going to replace the two solutions that they have been using to secure industrial control systems with our solution. Also, we're going through global systems integrators and solution providers. Again, names that you would recognize that do large contracting and consulting to secure everything from DoD to commercial applications. Municipal, the City of Dallas, our biggest fan is the CIO for the City of Dallas, where we've completed a proof of concept. Those of you who live in Dallas might recall that alarm attack that went off at Friday night, one night for 2 hours. He was emailing our CEO on Sunday night saying, can you help us? And we can. Also, Cyber Labs, Cyber Defense Labs in this area is one of our partners, along with, we were invited into Dallas Innovation Alliance and Academic Alliances, TEAS, UTD, and SMU's Cyber Department. So, a lot of solutions exist. You've heard of malware, firewalls, virtual private networks, encryption, one-way technology. Those are all very good things, and you should continue to have those to protect your data. But Entegra Blue is a unique solution for the operation technology side of the business. It's easy to install, can be installed in minutes. It doesn't require any change of any of your applications or programs or security that you run. There may be 60 different systems, industrial control systems in a utility plant. You do not have to change any of that. This is an overlay system. It's affordable and accessible through a managed service product. So, who's interested in our company? All these logos are global OEMs that represent about $200 billion in revenue that they do in industrial control systems. They are candidates to acquire us, but we also have an acquirer who's interested in issuing an indication of interest on our company for a significant valuation. They're in the process of raising $1 billion to do a very significant cybersecurity platform play. It is one of the best teams I've seen in the cybersecurity business, and they would like to buy our company, or a majority of it. We have experienced leaders. Nancy Shimwell, our CEO, will be here a little bit later this afternoon. Dave Shimwell, if you want to talk to him at the break about how we actually secure industrial control systems, you'll find him fascinating. He's worked, his clients include NASA, the Navy, and Elon Musk. So he worked on rocket ships for Elon. But he's now with us as our cybersecurity expert and also how to commercialize this technology. So, in closing, we have a unique proven solution. We de-risked the technology risk here. This was technology that's been used for about 20 years that we've put our IP on it and can now commercialize it and make it available for the private enterprise. We have significant traction, and we're positioned for a large capital raise and/or sale, and we anticipate to sell within the next 6 to 9 months based on the activity and conversations we've had to date. So, any questions? Do I have time for a question? Yes, sir.
Is the use of proceeds for a go-to-market strategy, or is it for a product roadmap, or what is the use of proceeds?
The use of proceeds will be for one thing. We have adequate capital to sell to the acquirer that wants to acquire us in the next 6 months. But we also have come to realize with about a $5 million infusion, we'll be able to probably take this company to a broader purchasing market. And if we close a couple of more of those milestones, I believe our valuation could go from the mid-hundreds to plus 200, and that'd be $1 billion. Yes.